Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you by Togen's Fly Shop, Maui Jim Sunglasses, and Hardy Rods and Reels.
Good day folks, welcome back to On the Bench. Today I'm going to be continuing with my river series here on Sport Fishing on the Fly. And I'm going to be moving on from the Blueing Olive Dry, which I have not done for you yet, and it's just because I haven't had enough chance to test it out myself on the river. It's July here in Trail, BC. The Columbia River is suddenly teeming with caddis. I fished this hatch last year with Dawn and Dale, and it was just insane. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to move here, because we just get the craziest caddis hatches on this river. I was out last night testing out the dry version, got several fish. It was just amazing. And I'm going to do all the various stages for you, the pupa, the emerger, and the dry. And today I'm going to start with the pupa. So make sure you have these materials handy before you tie the fly. The hook I'm using is a size 14. It's a buzzer hook by Honick, competition hook. You could use a size 12 to 16, and any kind of curved hook, a curved caddis or a scud hook even, or a check nymph hook. For a bead, I'm using a 3/32 black bead, and it's tungsten. For a little extra added weight, I'm using the new lead-free wire by Semperfli, and this is 0.23 millimeter. I think this is the smallest one. For that, I'm using 12/0, and it's classic waxed by Semperfli in black. For the hot spot, I'm using Fluoro Brite by Semperfli, and it's orange number 7. For the body, I'm using the new Gel Core Micro Fritz by Semperfli, and it's in golden olive. For the rib, I'm also using Fluoro Brite in fluorescent green. You could use any kind of green wire or anything if you don't have Fluoro Brite. And same with the butt, if you don't have the Fluoro Brite, you could totally use just orange thread is fine. For the legs, I'm using Whiting Brahma Hen, and it's in mottled gray. You could use partridge if you don't have this. And for the thorax, I'm using Hares Ear Ice Dub in black. And my black has a peacock in it, so it's like a black peacock color. If you don't have this color, maybe try mixing ice dub, like regular black ice dub with some peacock ice dub would work good. So I've gone ahead and slid my bead onto the hook with the small end of the bead facing forward. Next, I'm going to take my lead-free wire by Semperfli. So glad they made this because I don't like using lead, so real lead. And I'm just going to put a few wraps of this on here. Oh. Probably around 12 wraps or so. It breaks off really easy, just like lead. It's nice and soft. Just going to grab that other end. Just for a little bit of extra added weight. Next, I'm going to take my Fluoro Brite. Just start it on the hook. I'm going to take a couple wraps over the lead. And I'm going to give it a spin. I want to keep it nice and thin here at the back of the hook. It does flatten out slightly. And then snip away my tag end. Give it another spin. You could use orange thread for this too. If you don't have Fluoro Brite. I'm just going to take it right down to the bottom and then do a few wraps back up again. Right up to where almost to where my lead ends, and then I'm going to whip finish this off. Go ahead and snip away that thread. Next, you can just take a little bit of UV resin or glue of your choice, and I'm just going to give this butt a little coat. I'm using the Semperfli No Tack resin. And a quick zap. Should be good. Now you can take your black thread and start it on the hook, right behind the bead. I'm going to cover this lead up a little bit more, or wire. Next, take your ribbing material. I'm using the Fluoro Brite by Semperfli. You don't have to use that. You could use like a green medium or a chartreuse medium wire would be good. Even floss. And I'm just going to take it down so that just a tiny little bit hint of that hot spot is sticking out. And I'm going to bring my thread right back up to where the wire starts. Next, take your body material. So I'm using the Gel Core Micro Fritz by Semperfli. It's a new material that just came out this year. I really like this stuff. But you could use dubbing. Dubbing would work good. I've tied quite a few with some Hares dubbing in olive. Just tie that in. And bring your thread back up to about the 2/3 point on the hook. Oh, I don't have my material clip on this vise, so I'm just going to do this by hand here. Getting the first strap on, if you have some difficulty like I am, you can just turn your hook in the vise. Piece of hair there too. One sec. Just make sure that wrap starts right at the bottom. Sort of gives an ostrich hurl kind of a look, this stuff, which I like. It's not as brittle as ostrich hurl. Can be. Hang on, just move that out of my way. Snip that away. Next, take your ribbing material. And you can just wind it up the hook. Nice even spaced turns. And then tie that off. You can snip away your ribbing material. Just going to readjust my hook again. Next, take your hackle, and I'm using the Brahma Hen by Whiting Farms. Partridge would work really good for this. For years, that's all I used was partridge. I just don't have a very good skin, and I kind of like the coloration of these feathers. So I'm just going to snip. I'm just going to measure how far back these are going to come. And that's where I want my legs to start. And anything above that, I'm just going to snip out the tip. And I'm also going, so it's just like this. And then I'm going to take and pull forward like how many legs I want on my fly. And then the rest I'm going to peel off below it. So that I'm only left with what I want to use as legs on the stem. And I've got about, 5 or 6 on each side, not very many. The more stuff you put on the fly, the more it's going to slow it down going through the water. And then I'm just going to take and tie that right on top. Snip away my stem here. And I'm just going to pull the legs down slightly so they're kind of on the side, and then take my thread over top of them. Next, you can take your ice stub. And this black ice stub, even though it says black, it actually it's got a lot of peacock color in it. And that's the color I'm looking for. If you only have straight black eye stub, maybe mix it with like a peacock eye stub and blend them together. I'm just gonna spin this onto my thread. Form a noodle. Nice and tight, and then you can just begin winding it up until it forms a nice thorax. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more. So I want to make sure that's snugged in behind the bead really well. And then you can whip finish. I'm just going to go ahead and snip away a couple of the longer ones in my thread. And there might still be some longer ones. That's okay. I actually wanted that. I want it to be a little bit bushy at the head there. Just making sure there's nothing too crazy hanging off my fly. That should be good. And that's it, my micro Fritz caddis. Make sure to let me know in the comments what pattern you prefer using in your rivers. Caddis pattern. Thanks for joining me on this edition of On the Bench. Take care, everyone. Conserve the waters and tight lines.